This is Josh Goldstein, Jay Gold of the Goldstein Brothers, and you are listening to Wrestling Cheers.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're a Goldstein. This is Wrestling Cheers. We like to talk about things going on with our independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is an interview episode with Josh Goldstein of the Goldstein Brothers. I am your host. I am Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by the Trending Topics Network and Midwest Territory. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said, this is an interview with none other than Jay Goldstein, Josh Goldstein. So, about, 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago, end of November, beginning of December, the Goldsteins came out to AIW and spent a weekend not only for AIW, but also UXWA. It took a little bit of time before UXWA at Good Company to sit down and talk with Josh Goldstein. Both brothers were invited to come on, but Sam didn't come on for some particular reason. Not 100% sure, but whatever it is, we love both Goldsteins. And before we actually get into the interview, a huge shout out, a huge thank you to Jonah from Good Company for allowing us to set up shop at the back of the restaurant. It was right before a private party came in, and we had to do all that kind of stuff, but Jonah allowed us back there. No issue, obviously, with us recording. So whenever you're in Cleveland, please check out our friends over at Good Company. They got some really great food, really great service, and you won't regret one bit of it. So I'm not going to take any more time up, and we will get into the interview with Josh, Jay Goldstein, whatever you want to call him, right after this.
You wake up every morning, get yourself out of bed, and look in the mirror and realize that you don't recognize the person looking back at you. You don't feel as whole as you should. You feel about half empty. You get in your car and go about your daily activities, and you think about all the opportunities that you missed. Opportunities you didn't take. Doors you left closed instead of open. You think about all the things that you could have done and the things that you chose to do instead. Well, that's where I come in. My name is Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, and I am not only a motivational speaker, but I am a personal development coach, and my 3 principle system has changed the lives of countless people all over the world. I invite all of you to stay with me today and listen as I help you change your lives and give all of you a new beginning.
And we're back here on the podcast, and I am being joined by not a wrestler, not somebody within wrestling, but actually a huge fan of independent wrestling, guy that I've become friends with over the last year or so. And he is a fan of not only this show, a lot of other local here Cleveland shows, but we have none other than Jay Goldstein.
Thank you.
How's it going, man?
It's a pleasure. Sorry about my voice today. It's got blown out in the Cleveland weather last night.
Well, it's not going to come up as much on audio.
Right.
Like you have a microphone in your right in your face. We are. I'm going to throw out like a plug. I always plug them every episode. But Good Company. We're in the back of Good Company having this conversation. The Ohio State Michigan game is going on. And this is coming out in January. So, like, they've just scored another touchdown, Ohio State did, so whatever. But
all the hype. Everybody's excited in this town for that. I'm not a college football fan, but
I'm very similar. But it's like when I started venturing outside of Ohio, I fell in love with like, oh, I'm from Ohio. Here's like the Ohio State Buckeyes, because I could wear something Cleveland Browns and it's like, whatever. But it's like I'm representing Ohio, and I have so much pride in that.
I went to school in Delaware, and I played lacrosse with them, but we had such a contentious relationship with the football team, which is it's a 1AA or whatever they call it, the football championship series, which is the second tier.
Yeah.
So it's irrelevant, when it comes to the big games. So we didn't have a big game feel when I went to school. I mean, people love them because there's no pro football team in Delaware, so they went to all the UD games. But I just never got into that part of college sports. I don't like the ever-changing names. I'm a guy who loves playing Madden.
Same thing, dude.
I need to know who's on the team, who I'm playing with. So I never got into the college sports, even though I played it. It was just like, okay, I stick with the pros. And we had like our own little table for the Jet games, on Sundays in college. And then, very big Jet fan, like just as beyond big. And so this is something that I'm not used to, but my brother went to a Big Ten school. So, he loves this kind of stuff. So
like I'm 100% with you, and I've been like this ever since I was a kid. It's the fact that the rosters change, and let's say, okay, I'm an Ohio State fan, and like whatever star player, they go to the Steelers. So there's one dude that I loved, I now hate. Like
well,
I don't like that conflict.
Yeah, it's but then you have those people who are so diehard their school team that they'll hope that guy succeeds, and so they're okay with that.
Yeah, like I think if you're from certain areas,
right,
it makes sense. Like when I wasn't as familiar with college sports, and I'm like, oh, Alabama doesn't have a pro team, Mississippi doesn't have a pro team, but what they have is these college teams, and to them, like it's
bigger than the pros. They draw more fans, and it's bigger than the pros. Those people make their whole lives into that, which I like. It's cool, but it never turned out to be my cup of tea. I was a wrestling guy, and I watched tons of hockey, and regular football. So
hockey is another sport I've tried to get into.
It's hard when you don't have a team.
Well, there's that aspect of it. It is highly that aspect of it. But there's a reason why like that sport doesn't get over in certain areas, and I think soccer doesn't get over as a whole. Like some of these scores are some of these games are so low scoring.
Well, I think hockey is the perfect sport live, and when you don't have a team, you can't appreciate how good hockey is live. Hockey is the best sport to watch live by far.
I was thinking about this recently, though. What is a bad sport to watch live?
Well, football is one of the least fun sports in person because you have no.
I don't know.
It's so hard to look at what happened because it moves so fast.
It depends on where you're sitting, though.
Yeah, and if you have terrible seats, you got to hope for a replay.
Well, even like everybody, I think the common misconception with a lot of like seats, it's like you have to be close. And like with football, it's weird. Like you need like upper deck.
Right. You need a whole field view, but football is a TV sport. They made it that way so that you're going to watch. The replays you're going to watch for the analysis, but hockey, you don't need it.
But there's also like the good atmosphere of a football game that I love. Like I went to the Browns-Bills game, and that was
the madness, madness of a pro game. Yeah. I do too. I think there's something so cool about those rivalry games when you go to like a Jets-Dolphins game, Jets-Patriots. I love it, but it's I don't like being cold except for when you're in hockey wearing a sweater and you got a hoodie on, and it's like going to a wrestling show. You wear a hoodie, you put on your sweater, you know, and that's something that I feel like in person it's just insane. And then the pros in football, I just need to watch. I need to see what's happening. I need a replay fast. I need to know, I need some analysis to tell me what I just saw.
Yeah.
And then, I guess that's how you learn. But hockey, the sport is I'm putting it in the net and I'm putting it in the net. And football is we're going to stop, we're going to run a play, we're going to gain some yards, and we're going to stop again. There's a strategy to everything.
Yeah. Like I've heard a lot of people talk about football, and they're just like, it's that stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. But I don't know, like some of those fast plays and everything, like those hard hits, like those are the highlights, and you're waiting for the next one.
They're great. And then until the NFL takes everything away, and then you're like, this is just, it's killing me.
See, like I'll kind of defend the NFL on a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people like bitch about like, oh, like these quarterbacks can't take a hit. I'm like, yeah, you know who made those rules? The owners, the ones who are investing in those quarterbacks.
Right. Who want those quarterbacks to play and sell their jerseys. Sure.
They want to make the millions off of them. So, they're trying to make it, I don't want to say softer, but I think also we've learned so much about CTE and everything to where we're trying to get back. And it is this weird fine line because I think there is a lot more room of improvement that could happen. But it's like, do you take away the detriment of the game? Do you take away all these hard hits? But where
you're a super fan when it comes to the Browns, like just to watch how you do it when I see you on Instagram and stuff. So I understand your love, that kind of love.
Oh God, yeah.
I wish I could do it every week at a game, but once you become a parent, it's so hard to on a Sunday morning, it's not easy to go back out. Like I used to go to the bars every weekend and do the games, but those days are kind of gone. You just hope that you get a little bit of time to watch a piece of it, and then I'm happy.
I think for me, like it'll be something that probably carries on because like I'm a part of the Kent Browns backers here in Ohio.
Yeah,
and not only that, my girlfriend's or my fiance's dad is a part of the board. As of this recording, I'm going up for a board position. I don't know if I'm going to have competition, so by the time this comes out, I might be a Kent Browns Packers board member.
Pretty good. It's a lot of fun.
But it's something that, we go to. And, I've actually gone to a couple other Browns Packers where the kids come along.
Right.
It is a weird atmosphere. I can understand, having to, drag the kids to, even, doing what we do. Because, I go to the bars, but, I'm not a huge drinker. Right. I was actually just having a conversation with my fiance last night about how I'm this weird hybrid. I'll drink, but I won't drink a lot. I'll drink a beer. Mm-hmm. And, I'll be fine. But I'm not close to someone who doesn't drink but actually drinks because I try to go a good pace. I don't go crazy. I hate throwing up. I hate the hangovers, and I'm only in my early 30s, and I was like that in my 20s.
I think I've accepted all that already, and I'm just trying. I just like going out and do it when I get a chance to go out. Either tie it on hard or don't.
So how are these Cleveland trips been treating you, man? This is your how many time?
This is 4 in person, and we've seen 5 AIW shows in the last year and a half. So the first show we started at was Gauntlet for the Gold in 2017.
Okay.
Then
that was
2017. That was Jeff Jarrett.
18.
That's when Trace Hot Sauce won it.
Yeah. That was.
And we met Thorne that night at the Funhouse, and he was so good to us. So we just were like, you know what? Let's start supporting as much as we can. And then in the summer, I lost my dad, and my brother and I were sitting around in September, and he texted me and he says, "We should. They're coming to WrestleMania week. Regardless, we didn't know at the time they were doing a show." And he goes, "We should throw a party for those guys. See if they'll come in."
Yeah.
So we didn't have anything to lose. My dad's gone. The two of us are trying to think of a way to fill that void at the time.
Yeah.
So I sent Thorne an email. My brother's helping me craft it. He's more of he's just good with when it comes to writing, when it comes to putting out, statements, he's just always been the better of the two. I'm a little more rough around the edges.
Which he was going to be he had the invite to come here.
Right.
He's in the room, the big room, but still he's
a little shy on when it comes to public. Yeah. So I sent Thorne an email, and he said, my brother said, "Well, what's the worst that can happen? They say no or don't answer at all." And 10 minutes later, we got an email back, and it was that's really nice, and I think we're going to take you up on it. So we started the wheels in motion. We came back in December for Welcome to the Party.
Yep.
Everybody was so cool by the time we got here. Twitter sucks. It's a horrible place. But I give it credit because we made friends with you guys, and we were able to, communicate with you guys without having to be here.
Yeah.
And you still feel like part of the community. And I think that was the best part. So when we got here in December, everybody was so good to us. We went to NAX. We hung out, met everybody. Then the AIW party. I feel like that party in April, getting everybody coming to Hoboken and having everybody on our turf. Honestly, I got to make friends with people. I think buying drinks is an underrated, it's an underrated way to show some respect. Hey, let me get you a drink.
Yeah.
And then we can talk or whatever. You know what? And it opened up a lot of people.
Yeah.
And everybody seems so kind about it. And then when we came back in time for, ABSO this year, now we feel really part of the family. And I think it's my wife loves it. She loves when we go.
Yeah.
She thinks it's amazing. And my brother and I we drive here and we're like giddy. We're like children on the way here. We just can't wait to get here. So it's a perfect place. Yeah. So it's a perfect situation for us. There's no wrestling community in New York, New Jersey. There isn't. There's a lot of shows and a lot of fans. And you run into people sometimes.
Yeah.
But if I could go to Wrestle Pro in Rahway, New Jersey, and then go to Outlaw Pro in Brooklyn and not see anybody that I know.
Wow.
And it's literally 14 miles from each other.
Yeah.
And you don't see anybody you know. I've run into 3 or 4 people from Twitter, but otherwise I know nobody in these shows, and I feel very alienated. You know, if I can't go alone. I do go alone to one show in Hoboken, Capital Wrestling, which Ariella Nix is on the show today, the UXWA show. So I've seen her.
She's the only one I don't know in that match.
She's the longest running Capital Wrestling Women's Champion.
Okay.
They've been around about 2.5 years.
Okay.
So that's where I met CPA for the first time.
Good man.
Bobby Orlando. And that community is nice because I can go to that alone. It's like 3 blocks from my house. I walk and then I'm there by myself. Yeah. So I got to meet a lot of these guys, and they're really kind guys too. The Creative Pro guys are very nice.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it keeps me in the loop with the AIW guys because a lot of these guys take the ride.
Yeah.
And Creative Pro shows up at Capitol. Creative Pro actually rents the ring to Capitol on occasion. I think Wrestle Pro rents the ring on occasion. Okay. So, you know, it keeps me in the loop. And I love the fact that everybody's very active on Twitter, that we could keep stay in touch, which is really nice. Fantasy League, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we feel very much like we've been, we didn't want to come in here and be like, we're nobodies, and everybody is nice here. And it's so nice to just be around people. So
I think with a lot of fans, they come and go.
Yeah.
Like I'll throw in old videos, whether on IWTV or even just YouTube, and I'll see fans in the crowd. I'm like, I'll think, do you still come to shows? Like, are you just sitting somewhere I don't see you?
Right.
Or what? Like, there was actually one, I just threw up a Kenny Johnston video that he did about Veda. And there was a fan that I saw, like, in this one small clip, and he's getting his picture taken with Kevin Steen at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't very long after that show, maybe within a couple months, he passed away.
Oh.
And I hadn't even, like, I wasn't close with him. I couldn't even tell you his name, but I remembered he had a face that I could always remember, and it was kind of like news, like, hey, this fan passed away. Like AIW posted about it, and I kind of got reminded. I'm like, oh shit, like that. I know what happened to him, but there's other people. Did they move? Did they pass away? No one knew them, and I always wonder about that kind of stuff.
You know what's remarkable? I don't remember or not. Did you go to the WrestleMania show, the summer party?
No, I've only done one WrestleMania weekend, and that was Orlando. I just started a new job right around that time last year, and like this year I'm starting another new job when I'm within, by the time WrestleMania happens, I'll be within 6-7 months maybe, and I'll only have 2 vacation days. So
makes sense.
I'm not going to WrestleMania this year, and then I'm not going to WrestleMania next year.
I mean, what was remarkable about that show was we brought some friends with us, and we were talking to everybody. We ran into Rick, we sat with, Pat and Ed, like we ran it, and he was like, everybody from Cleveland is here.
Yeah.
And we looked around the room. We're like, it's just like it's an AIW show.
Yeah.
Except in a different state, but everyone is here. So like their fan reactions were the same. It was exactly what it should have been.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how well the Cleveland fans traveled. Now, you can't say that the same about GCW because they have fans everywhere.
And they go everywhere.
Right. But they have fans everywhere, right? Yeah. But AIW, it's even though I keep telling people it's probably the 4th or 5th largest independent company, like you can run down the list of the most successful ones right now, the ones that you would say off the top of your head, and GCW is in there, AIW is in there. I don't know, Wrestle Pro, something
Beyond?
PWG, Beyond, but AIW is definitely right in there.
It's in the conversation. I've always had the debate whether like is AIW the biggest company in Ohio, and I think for a while it was a debate between them and Rockstar, and after the showing last night I'm kind of like
or the most enjoyable and put on the best product, because you could say a company's big, but does AIW put on the best product? Probably.
Yeah. I will say that because there are companies, I'm not going to mention them, in this state that will act like they put on the best show, and I'm like, Have you seen AIW? Have you been? I understand that's your competition, and you want to say, well, I'm better. I look what they do, and like this, some of these companies will run down the road from other AIW venues, and I'm like, you can't be charging what you're charging when AIW's having $1 Million Man and all these people.
But look at we said this to Thorne. Look at their talent. Like some of these guys are so ready.
Yeah.
And then when they move on to like Beyond, and they move like Dom and Danhausen.
Love that Danhausen.
But look at how ready they are for the next step.
Yeah.
Thorne makes them ready. Like
if
you put PME on any card, any independent card, they'll work. If you put the production on any independent card, any card,
Yeah.
Not just in the North, not just in the Ohio area. If you bring the production or PME to New York and have them on a WrestlePro card in Rahway, they'll work and get fans. They'll know exactly what to do. And all these guys, even guys like Mikey Montgomery and I forgot his partner's name.
Eric Taylor.
Eric Taylor.
Malibu Eric Taylor.
They may be young, but they're also, you can tell how they're building and how they're growing.
Yeah.
And you don't see that in every place.
You don't.
And so this company consistently, you're like, they have like a feeder system that works.
Well, they, like when I first started in 2011 and even like going into 2012, like it was a lot of like, they would pull people locally. And even going back and watching some of these videos, I'm like, I don't even know who half these wrestlers are.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where they came from and they didn't wrestle long afterwards. But when they started the school, that started that feeder system to where
Twan on NXT, that's insanity.
Twan.
That night I remember looking at Twitter and I was like, we're fans, but I looked, I'm like, I feel so happy for him.
Yeah.
Like, you get to know him and you're like, that guy is ready. Look at him. Look at him on TV. He was ready. Like, because Thorne makes them ready. Like, they're ready. You don't get that everywhere. You don't go to, you go to, I'll say it forever. I am not a super card fan.
Yeah.
I don't like AEW. I don't like it. It's the same 12 guys. I've seen every Young Bucks match you can offer.
Yeah.
I've seen every Penta and, Ray Phoenix match. I get it, guys. It's cool. Whoever loves it, loves it. But I like story-driven. I don't need dives and spots and, I don't need it. We're good. I'd love to see a really big dive like once in the match.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a guy hold on to another guy's hand, jump on 2 ropes, jump to the other rope, then do his move while the other guy just stands there while he's holding his hand. I'm more of an old school wrestling fan. I grew up with Macho Man and Rick Rude. They didn't wait for anything. No movement was wasted. It was Rick Rude thought of everything when he was even in an arm drag, a hammerlock. Nothing was wasted. So that's why I love AIW. Look at what AIW is doing. Their matches are not like that. Their matches make sense. When a guy works a limb, it works a limb. When the tag matches go on, the double team moves make sense. So, I mean, that's just an old man yelling at the clouds right now. But
a little bit.
I love NXT. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I always have. But you can call me a WWE mark or whatever. But that's what I grew up. I like it. I like Riddle. I like Keith Lee. I don't
know about Riddle, but that's just my personal opinion. Yeah.
Look, but I like watching him on the show. Like he may have burned a bridge here and there, but he's terrific. I mean, I think the personalities are terrific. So
yeah.
Look, don't get me wrong. I love Jericho. Guy can do no wrong.
I think he's overrated.
Mentally, he's ahead of everybody else.
He's got a lot. I would say he's got a lot of mental stuff, but I feel like a guy who's been around as long as he is. When he was in WCW and he was kind of bitching about like Hogan, I'm looking at him like, you're Hogan now, right?
Yeah, but how many wrestlers can you say as a fan that you can look at and go, that guy knows exactly who he is?
Hogan knew who he was too.
I know, but that's why he got over, and that's why you still chant his name, and that's why people still buy his shirts.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Jericho knows exactly who he is. It's amazing to watch. As I've gotten older and understand, like just knowing the business now, like talking to people and talking to guys like Dom and listening, it's fascinating. So few guys know who they really want to be until, when you see the development. Yeah. Jericho knows, he's known for 25 years who he is,
I just always, I don't know, I'm tempted to say like he's the GOAT. I know people who just like dead set.
He's not that, but he is a legend, and he is the mind he's brilliant.
Yeah. I think just for me, like he was never 100% my cup of tea. Like he was never a guy I hated. I would get behind him on certain things, but he was never like to me the guy. But then again, I feel like some of the people that I know that love Jericho will say the same thing about Triple H. And I'm like, I get that too.
My brother was a huge Triple H fan when we were kids,
but Triple H was never really the guy either. They fell in this weird era where it was a lot more Stone Cold. It was a lot more The Rock. Gatekeeper. And they were like the next level after them. And then when those two went away, like they were still there, but it was, if I would compare them to anybody, which would be a compliment kind of coming from me, is like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, which I love those two. Those are my two favorite of all time. But let's face it, after the Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, and Savage, there's a lot of people.
Mindset change. You got to change your mindset though, because they don't. Once they stop looking like that, that was the end. Once you stop looking like the Ultimate Warrior, there's nobody who will ever look like him again.
No,
they just won't allow it.
Except the Renegade.
Yeah. But look how he worked. Well, he kind of worked just like the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah.
But Ultimate Warrior, because I think he was the first like that. Like that's why it works so well. Like, and like I know a lot of people that hate him for a lot of the stupid shit he said. I get that. I'm like Jim Hellwig. Like I don't know about the person.
Yes,
I'm not a huge.
That's why.
that character.
Right. That's why I tweeted one day. I remember when we stopped talking about guys as workers and started talking about guys when we were kids. The only thing that mattered to us was the story.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Or even the character.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you one move. Like I knew the names because we weren't idiots, but I couldn't tell you one person who I ever discussed wrestling with in the early 90s or late 80s, early 90s when I went to a show like sitting in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
And someone going to me, that guy's a great worker. That guy, look at that move set. Nope. They were just like, when we ran into Diesel out in the parking lot in Poughkeepsie once, Kevin Nash, because we're here for Hell on Earth. He was so big and he was so Diesel. You know what I mean? Like he was Diesel when he walked through the parking lot. He was not Kevin Nash. I didn't call anybody by their first names.
Yeah, I
wasn't in on some big secret that I knew his name. When Diesel walked through the parking lot, it was like, that's why I like wrestling. That guy who's got the sunglasses and who wears still one black glove in the middle of the parking lot.
I started to know more about him when his real name, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Oh, of course. Super Shredder.
And like they put that in WWF magazine that he was in it, and like I ended up like going to the credits like, oh, Kevin Nash.
Super Shredder was one of the that was I remember when that came out and everyone's just like, a wrestler's getting is in a show. Like
yeah,
it's oh my god, look, they're getting in it. Like it wasn't just Hogan, it wasn't just it wasn't the nanny or anything like that. It was oh my god, it's Nash. And then when they were what was it? The rumor was Nash was going to be Sabretooth in the X-Men movie, the original X-Men movie in 2001, but it wasn't. It became that Taylor or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, Nash is going to be in X-Men. This is the big, that was a huge coup, for wrestling to get a superstar in a movie. And it wasn't because he was a good worker. It was because he was, it's because everybody loved the personality.
And like his acting career, he's had so many different movies.
Oh, and let's put this to rest, by the way. Everybody I listened to this week who talked about Hell on Earth and Nash, he was in the Thomas Jane Punisher. He was the Russian in the Thomas Jane Punisher. Not the Dolph Lundgren, not the Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
The Thomas Jane Punisher. He wore a white and red candy striped shirt, and he had a blonde crew cut, and he beat up the Punisher and threw him around the apartment. That's the movie he was in for everyone who didn't remember which one he was in.
I think like he was in the only one I seen.
Thomas Jane.
Yeah, so like
it was awful. The movie was awful anyway. But
yeah.
I was obsessed with all those. I'm obsessed with movies anyway, so
yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I got that in because I heard Ed and Pat trying to figure it out. I heard some dudes last night at the show trying to figure out Thomas Jane.
Okay.
He was the Russian.
But he's also in Magic Mike. The reason why my girlfriend wanted a picture with him.
But that's late in his career when they finally accepted everybody.
Yeah, but he also... You forget all those other stuff. Like he had a little part in Grandma's Boy,
right?
And that was because he was in The Longest Yard,
right?
Like I threw those movies out to my fiance as we were going home, and she was like, "No, he was in those," and I'm like, "Yeah, like
yeah."
But to me, he's Super Shredder. I mean, besides Kevin Nash and Diesel, like movie wise, he's Super Shredder. And
that's where your childhood comes in, and every time you look at him, you'll always say Super Shredder.
Well, even like I had like a little moment with him. Like I think if you're gonna meet one of your favorites from childhood, try to say something like from your childhood you might want to say. And I was just like, yeah, like you played Diesel and like I'm now a truck driver. And I think that's kind of cool.
Right.
And like you were one of my favorites. Like with 95 when he got the push that he did, guess what? I fucking loved it.
And we didn't know anything about backstage politics or anything. So when he was the champion, we just accepted it. And no one went around complaining that why did they give him the belt? What is he going to do?
Dude,
because they still say it wasn't a good run, but I don't even know what that means when I was a kid then. It was cool.
I mean, I can understand now when people say it wasn't a good run, but like that was a weird year for wrestling. But when you lived it, you were just like, yeah, like at the age I was, I'm like, I love Brett, I love Sean, I love Diesel, and that was their prime.
Do that. We forget to do that now. It's just too much. Yeah. It's too much about it. And again, old man at the clouds, but it was now. I think we forgot how important those days were, and that's what got you into it. So now. That's when I come to AIW. I like to just do that. I like to watch the guys.
Yeah.
Cheer the bad guy. Cheer the good guys. Boo the bad guys. And that's it.
See, that's like a mentality I don't understand with a lot of people. Because, I mean, there's people that'll get on their high horse about it and be like, well, cheer the good guys, boo the bad guys. And I'm like, the list of, like, wrestlers that I don't like is short. And I'm talking legitimate don't like.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that of like wrestlers that I like, and like I might root for them in their match, and they're a bad guy. I might like both wrestlers. I'll just figure out who the hell I want to root for. But
I don't know anybody personally to ever say hate their guys. That's why the internet's so bad, is when people go on there and just hate this guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anybody. I know some of these guys are great dudes, but I don't just like go on there and there's no like hatred in my tone. It's a weird thing.
I mean, when it comes to even wrestlers, like I have like 2 wrestlers that like are on a high level that I really don't like, and it comes close to a hate. But I don't post about them. You know why? Because that's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't get you anywhere.
No,
never got me anywhere.
There's this whole thing of, and it's what makes social media so toxic. People just want to be like, I hate this. Well, that's fine. Like I'll give one example. There was one person on my feed every year. She'll post the like it's the beginning of football, and then the Morticia Addams going like, I don't care. And I'm like, I kind of like called her out, but she's not the only one. But I basically said, like, I get that you don't like it, but there's music you like that I don't. But I'm not going on here saying I hate it or I don't care.
I just move on. Nobody even knows what I like and don't like, because everybody knows what I like, but when I don't like anything, I just move along.
I would rather people promote what they like than what they don't like, because it's more fun to have the conversation of like common interest than to like, granted, if that common interest is like, we hate this person, well, that I don't care what people say. That's toxic. Like I don't care what it is.
I just don't. Most of the time, if I don't agree with somebody, I just move on.
Yeah,
and that's really the only way. But not everybody does that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Some people I'm sure are like, the Goldsteins, who are these dopes? And then hate those guys. Whatever.
You're well loved.
Show up.
You're well loved in the AIW family.
Look, I like everybody here. They're so cool. Like, there's no, But I'm just saying, like, I'm sure people like pick on others for that. But who has the time for it? When you come to these shows? I feel like everybody's so happy.
Yeah.
That like even today, there are people in here. We're here. Like, we're going to the UXWA show. People are just happy the weekend got here and that they can all go do this stuff together.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
People are even more excited with the 42-27 Ohio State lead.
This state, yeah, it's amazing. That's amazing too. I like being in a state like during these big events.
Yeah,
I was in Scotland during the Big Seven Sunday, rugby, the 7 Nations rugby tournament.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the feel. It's a different feel in the world when these things happen. Yeah, like if we stayed for a Cleveland Browns game.
Well, granted, it's not happening here, but Cleveland versus Pittsburgh, it's
a big fight feel. Yep.
Well, I don't know if I'd use that fight word.
Well.
Myles Garrett.
It is Tyson, Buster Douglas level fun type of stuff. It works for me.
It's going to be an old topic by the time this comes out. From an outsider, what was your point of view on the whole Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph thing?
I don't agree with the suspension at all. It doesn't make any sense. It's already been done. Somebody swung his helmet at Richie Incognito and got 2 games. Yeah. So what kind of example are you setting? And it's a fight in football. Who cares? Yeah. He swung the helmet. Myles Garrett's a good player, and Mason Rudolph is whatever. It doesn't matter. They're fighting. It's a sport where the guys are killing each other. It's wrong to suspend them. It's wrong. 2 games, 3 games.
I mean, I'm fine with whatever suspension they threw. I don't like indefinite, but I look at it as
indefinite is for people who've done something beyond the pale.
Yeah. But with
a swinging helmet in football, really, guys? We're going to suspend him for a whole season and the playoffs and next season, maybe, because you don't feel like getting him back in?
My big thing is, like, Mason Rudolph didn't get shit, he might have said something racial. I thought the moment that happened, there was something
never
racial
gets
said.
Caught. The first guy never gets caught. It's the second guy.
And then Freddie Kitchens alluded to, like, there was a different story, like, after that game that he heard from Myles Garrett, but he was keeping that between them from now on. But a week later, when the hearing happens, well, what did Myles Garrett say? I'm like, did you listen to Freddie Kitchens?
I just don't. You stop making. You're not making an example of somebody when there's already an example. It was 2 games.
Yeah,
there's no example to be made. It was 2 games: the Texans, the Dolphins, and the guy swung his helmet at Incognito and didn't make contact. 2 games.
Yeah,
he bopped Mason Rudolph on the head. Mason Rudolph was able to turn around and go, "What the heck?"
And charge him.
But after he hit him, he was
before that.
He was able to go like this. He was able to go, "What? All right, so you're fine. All right, we're good. Let's everybody get off the field."
Yeah. I kind of wish everybody would have got 1 game suspension and everybody comes back during the rematch.
Well, I'm all right
because
I'm all right with 2 or 3 game suspension, only because send the message. It's 2-3. Don't swing a helmet.
I'm just saying, Myles Garrett reinstated after, he goes onto the field one more time against them in Pittsburgh.
See, the problem is he wasn't going to play anyway. He stinks. That's the problem.
No, Myles Garrett.
Yeah, no, Mason Rule's not going to play anyway, so there's no retribution.
But Myles Garrett, as soon as he would walk on that field, he's getting booed. Granted, they're going to get booed this Sunday. So as people are hearing this, he got booed the Browns got booed months ago. Whatever, I don't know the result, obviously, but I think it would be great just to they would be so hated.
It would be cool, but we always look at everything as a wrestling angle, so it would have worked.
Yes, that is very true.
I'm 41. We look at every time my wife mentions something that might sound like a wrestling angel or something that it connects with wrestling. I can't help myself.
Yeah,
my life it's
in our blood.
It's what it is. I took my daughter. She's 4 to meet Swoggle in Queens one day. She watches TV now and sees him.
Is she taller than him?
Well, she goes. He's so little, but. He was so nice to her. Now she calls him her buddy or friend.
Oh.
So she sees him on TV. Why is my friend acting silly? When Thorne gave him that clothesline at J-Lit, her mind was blown. She goes, he's acting so silly. Why doesn't he get up? I'm like, I don't know.
That's
your buddy's not getting up. He's fine. But she loves him. She was so shy, and he was so nice to her.
Yeah.
So, meet your your heroes. Swoggle's a good dude. Great guy.
People always say like don't meet your heroes, they'll disappoint. But I met Brett and Sean, and I don't have one bad thing to say. That was fucking awesome,
dude. Meeting you guys and meeting Thorne and all the guys and everybody being such decent human beings.
Yeah.
It changes the way you think about anything. You're like, okay, they're really good people in this world. I might be in New Jersey where there aren't.
Yeah.
But I come out here and I'm like, people are so good. There are good people left and good people in this business that I loved my whole life. So that's,
I mean, it's also what I've promoted for a long time. And it kind of came from Biggins of what the AIW atmosphere is. It's wrestling cheers because everybody knows your name.
I wish I met him.
Yeah.
I wish I knew of him. My brother listened to the podcast before that. He got me into it. The AIW podcast. He knew more about it than I did. I wish the first thing I ever saw of AIW was Kevin Owens' tweet about when Biggins passed away. That was the first I ever. That's when I started researching what the company was. Until my brother's listen to their podcast. But that was that tweet. That day it was crazy. I remember looking at Twitter because I follow so many independent companies, but seeing that tweet, and I'm like, what is happening? The world is burning down. What happened?
He only wrestled for AIW a handful of times, but we made such an impression on him.
Which seems to be the case with every wrestler who comes here.
Brian Myers. Kurt Hawkins, I know he's had a lot of great things to say.
Everybody seems to love it.
It's very. Maybe that's why a lot of us take exception to the shit that Riddle pulled, because it's we're a good company, we're a good fan base, but I don't know, we didn't make that impact on you. You were looking for something more.
I think that was a huge mistake, and I don't know. It's not going to ever get better because he's gone. He's doing his thing, but. Yeah, that's a shame. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know why somebody, but everyone else who ever comes through these walls, who comes through the meets the fans or comes through any of these meet and greets, the highest of praise for everything that comes out of here. Yeah. Look, 2 guys from New Jersey came through, and now we can't stop coming. So there's something here. You guys have something. So yeah.
All right, let's wrap this show up.
Well, I appreciate you.
Well, we got the Fave 5 questions.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
You listen, you got to know. We got the Fave 5 questions coming.
Let's do it.
Hey, this is Booker T, 5-time champ, and this is the Fave 5 questions. Now, can you dig it?
All right, let's start with question number 1. We had a little bit earlier, so I found it appropriate. Wings, bone in or out?
Oh, in
all the way.
Boneless is just a meal. Wings have to be eaten with the bone. Yeah.
And the wings here, I didn't like the barbecue as much the first time I came, but having the coconut, orange, lime, that. Ooh,
that was the best choice. Listening to you was that they were fantastic,
and the meat almost just fell off the bone. And that makes it perfect.
Outstanding.
Yes,
outstanding.
Question number 2. What's your favorite video game console?
Console, yes. N64 if you're playing the wrestling games, but otherwise the Xbox, I'm a Gears of War fan, so anything on the Xbox, any Gears game that's my thing. So wherever it falls, I'm more of the. I'd rather play the franchise. I don't care where it plays. The console's not important.
Okay. Like, I know for me, like, I've always said Super Nintendo, but that was my childhood.
N64,
So, like,
I mean, mine too was Nintendo, but I wasn't my favorite console because I didn't beat any of those games.
Yeah.
DuckTales was the only one I ever beat. No, Rescue Rangers. Rescue Rangers and DuckTales.
Disney afternoon Nintendo games are, like, so special.
They're the best.
Like, that, Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
Like, I was happy when they remade DuckTales for the Xbox. The arcade game. Like, it was a nice update.
The whole bouncing on the cane was one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
By far.
So awesome. Question number 3. Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee only. Black coffee.
Black coffee. Ooh, okay.
I haven't put anything in it since I met my wife 12 years ago. She's like, I don't like anything in my coffee. I'm like, all right, let me try it. Love coffee. Black.
Okay. Do you have a favorite brand?
Dunkin'.
Okay.
There's one right outside my apartment, so I go there every day.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Question number 4. Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi. I love Diet Pepsi. I know. People do that to me.
I don't know. I used to never have a favorite until I was dating a girl in high school, and all her family carried was Coke. So, like, I'd always go over there, drink it, and then I go somewhere, and I ordered a Coke, and they didn't correct me. They just brought me Pepsi, and I could, like, that was the first moment I could taste the difference, and I'm like, oh, I'm a Coke person.
Believe it or not, my family only had Diet Coke when we were kids, but I always felt that Pepsi had a lighter taste to it. I just like the lightness of a Diet Pepsi.
We did talk about earlier about you not liking too much sugar. So that actually makes a lot of sense.
No, I love sugar. I'm an old man. I can't. It doesn't work anymore. I just eat so much of it.
Coke.
Yeah.
Like if you can't take too much sugar, like that's Coke.
I always think Coke is less about sugar, more syrup. Okay. There's a heaviness to it.
Yeah.
That regular Coke just kills me.
Yeah. Question number 5. What do you prefer? Deathmatch wrestling or comedy wrestling?
Comedy.
Between the two. Okay.
I am a gigantic Colt Cabana fan.
Oh, God. Colt's great.
Because he's Jewish like me. You know, we love it.
Did you ever go on IWTV and watch AIW Dead Presidents?
No.
You have IWTV?
I do not.
You should.
I will. Use
promo code ABSOLUTE, get your first 20 days free. You're welcome, Thorne. I'm surprised you don't have it. But anyway, if within that trial, find AIW Dead Presidents.
Okay.
It is Colt Cabana versus Tracy Smothers.
Oh, I've heard about that. I just never saw it.
It's literally almost 15 minutes of mic work before the bell rings.
I watched a Colt versus Eric Young match at a company called Family Wrestling Entertainment, FWE. They only did 3 shows in Queens. They went out of business. The guy had every big name. I don't know how he afforded to do the shows, which shows you he didn't.
Yeah.
Because they went out of business. Colt versus Eric Young was the dark match. They did a streaming. I've never seen anything like it. And they did moves, but they also, the crowd was so hot.
It's great.
It was amazing. Yeah. Comedy every time.
So that was question number 4, right?
5.
Okay, that's 5.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't keeping track. I was kind of looking at the other time. Anyway, for you, question number 6. You talked about you love movies, and I think we had this conversation. Give me your top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Top 5. Number 1, with a bullet, Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Will never, ever be... There's never another number 1. That's it.
Have you ever gone down to the prison?
I have not.
But
I love Castle Rock.
Let's say you're not too far from it.
It's pretty far. That trip up there, that's like a 6-7 hour drive.
No, the one that they used.
Oh, the actual
is here in Ohio. It's,
I thought you were talking about the state to go up to Maine and like.
Oh no.
Yeah. No, Shawshank will always be number 1. Number 2, believe it or not, was Hudson Hawk. Bruce Willis. He was a cat burglar. It was awful. With Danny Aiello, I just loved it. Can't help myself.
Yeah.
I loved Ford Fairlane as a kid. I was obsessed with dice when I was little.
Yeah.
I don't know, 3 and 4 favorite movies. I would say Neverending Story.
Okay.
And maybe 5 would be to this. You know what? It's hard because I see a lot of movies, a lot. Yeah. And I don't know. I think I just love seeing movies and consuming, all that it is. So, yeah, but if you ask me a top 3, it'd always be Shawshank, Ford Fairlane, and Hudson Hawk. And that those 2 could be switched, but Shawshank's number 1.
My top 5 in no particular order, and they kind of, I feel like they go around a little bit. You got Tommy Boy.
Great.
Ghostbusters.
Yep, great.
Clerks 2.
I like the first one better, but I love Clerks 2.
The Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. And the Scarface remake. Not to be confused with the original from the 20s, 30s, or what?
Well,
40s.
I can't disagree with it. And I just don't. Comedy movies like Tommy Boy are so legendary. I don't know if they deserve to be on a list. Maybe not for me. Like, I just love it. Like, I can watch it any time. That
was when I fell in love with Chris Farley, who I absolutely love. And I found out years later that came out on my 9th birthday. So I'm like, this movie means so much to me. And as a kid, that was one of the VHSs that I ran the shit out of. When I was even younger, Ghostbusters. Was that?
I saw that movie in the theaters, Tommy Boy.
Damn.
Yeah.
If they ever did a re-release, I'd go see it.
Dude, all those Sandler movies, which were amazing, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
But when someone asks, a top 5 is hard. It's really hard. If you just ask me number 1, I'll always say Shawshank.
I think if I do the top 10, it's hard because there's movies that have kind of, what I feel have crept up to getting a great spot for me. But those 5 mean so much of my 20 and younger for one reason or another. So I can always go back to them and watch them and just love them. Yeah. I don't care. I've seen Tommy Boy numerous, and almost every time Ghostbusters has been in the theaters, I'll go and rewatch it, and I love it.
The best part of Hudson Hawk was that Danny Aiello was in it, and he was singing as a cat burglar, and he had a restaurant in Hoboken. He'd sit out there every Thursday. So I'd walk by his restaurant and shout out lines from the movie. Not amused. Must not have liked it, but I loved it. But he was not amused.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs?
No, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Your Twitter for people who don't know.
JGold12.
Anything else you want to throw out?
No, man. I'm just me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see that no one has left. But now you're asking yourself, Dr. Dan, are you going to tell us what the DCR system is? And I will tell you now. The 3 simple principles that change everyone's lives: dedication, confidence, and respect. D, C, and R. If one is dedicated to themselves, confident in oneself, and respectful of oneself, there is nothing that they cannot accomplish. Those 3 principles are the building blocks of anything you wish to achieve. If you just remember D, C, and R, there is nothing that you cannot accomplish. But sometimes you feel that isn't enough. Sometimes you need to be a little more focused on the task at hand. But don't worry. To go along with dedication, confidence, and respect, you can always remember rule number 1.
And there you have Jay Goldstein, Josh Goldstein, if you will. So yeah, that will do it. Huge thank you once again to Jonah. Huge thank you for Josh for coming on. It was great to have this type of little sit down interview. And yeah, that try to get out the background noise, the TVs playing the Ohio State Michigan game. So it was definitely a blast, and I look forward to whenever the Goldsteins come back out. Maybe it's J-Lit, maybe it's Absolution, but we will see. Anyway, you can find myself at HeavySet330, much like you can find this show at Wrestling Cheers, Facebook.com/Wrestling Cheers, Twitter.com/Wrestling Cheers, Instagram.com/Wrestling Cheers. Email, if you so choose a desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said earlier, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Check out our friends on the Trending Topics Network, such as All Beer Inside, Eurovision Showcase, Old School at the Movies, and Wrestling with Altitude. Check out our other podcast friends, such as Let the Hate Flow Through You, Pod Van Dam, Super Fantastic Podcast, The Road Home from Wrestling, Haunted Home Video, The IndieCast, Center Stage, Sobros Network, Big Gold Belt Podcast, The Co-Host Wrestling Show, Spotlight Series, I Got Your 5 Stars, Not Ready for Primetime Wrestling, At Odds with Wrestling, and It's Evolution Baby. And check out our other non-podcasting friends, such as Thrift Store Jobber, The Savage Stash, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, Sickening Pictures, Good Company, Stay Tough, Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, Wrestle Void, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, even if you are one of the secret investors. Later.
Making your way in the world today takes every taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Would you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody